All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. It is that time of the week, folks, my weekly picks in the world of the National Football League. Now, last night I picked the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were heavily favored on the road against the Cleveland Browns, but that was not to be, as the Browns served the Steelers with their third loss of the season. And for the Cleveland Browns, they've now beaten the Baltimore Ravens and Pittsburgh Steelers, two of the top dogs in the AFC North this season. And you look at the Steelers, another loss to a team with a losing record, as they also fell to the Dallas Cowboys and Indianapolis Colts. But nonetheless, that game was very exciting in the snow last night. We've got some good games on tap for Sunday, as well as some brotherly love on Monday night. And with that said, here are my picks for week number 12 in this NFL season. So you've got the 8-2 Minnesota Vikings traveling to Soldier Field to take on the 4-6 Chicago Bears. And for the Vikings, they're looking to keep up with the Joneses in the NFC North. Remember, it was about a month ago that it looked like, hey, we might get four teams from the NFC North into the postseason. That's no longer the case, as the Chicago Bears have really tapered off. So it's a three-team race. You've got the Lions, you've got the Vikings, and you've got the Green Bay Packers. And you look at these Vikings after they had their two-game losing streak, they've gotten back on track. They're relying on their defense. They're relying on solid play. And of course, it's one of those where with quarterback Sam Darnold, the formula is very simple. Get the football to wide receiver Justin Jefferson and get out of his way. This Bears offense has struggled mightily for the bulk of the season. We saw them have some life last Sunday in their home loss to Green Bay. But this Bears defense, to me, has not been the same following that Hail Mary loss to the Washington Commanders a couple of weeks ago. Minnesota comes into this contest favored by 3.5 points over their NFC North brethren on the road. I'm going to go with the over on that, and I'm going to take the Vikings by the score of 27-17. Now, you've got the 9-1 Detroit Lions making the trek to Indianapolis to take on the 5-6 Colts. And for Detroit, they come into this contest favored by 7.5 points. And the bottom line is, will anybody be able to slow down the Lions? We just saw them hang up 52 on the Jacksonville Jaguars this past Sunday. And hey, the Detroit made it look very easy. You look at this offense that is being navigated and orchestrated by quarterback Jared Goff, clearly playing the best football of his career, clearly an MVP candidate. And you look at the way that the Lions play, plain and simple, they will run through a wall for their head coach, Dan Campbell. Now, for the Colts, they got the win on the road last week against the Jets. Uh, they went back to Anthony Richardson at quarterback. It's going to be very interesting in this one because I think Richardson can have some moments where he can show some flashes against this Detroit defense, but it's going to come down to him being able to put it all together for 60 minutes. I'm not sure that he's going to be able to do it. Like I said, Detroit's favored big in this one by 7.5 points. I'm going to take the Lions by 11, 31-20. Now in the AFC East, you've got the 3-8 New England Patriots traveling to South Florida to take on the 4-6 Miami Dolphins. And don't look now, but after the slow start by Miami, and of course they've got Tua back at quarterback, they're looking to crawl back into this AFC playoff picture. And a win right here at home over the Patriots would put them one game under 500. Like I said before, this Dolphins team, this Dolphins offense looks so much better now that Tua is back at quarterback. Speaking of quarterbacks, Mac, I almost said Mac Jones there. Please forgive me for a minute. Drake May, the Patriots rookie quarterback, he's showing some flashes. And you could see that this kid has some talent there. But the bottom line is New England simply doesn't have the team around him at this present moment to give them an opportunity to compete. The Dolphins are favored by 7.5 points at home. I'm going to go on the plus side of that, and I'm going to take Miami by 13, 27-14. And at MetLife Stadium, you've got the 2-8 New York Football Giants hosting the 4-6 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Both of these teams come into this contest fresh off of their bye week. And if you're the Giants right now, you want that bye week extended another 7 days. It's been a PR nightmare for the Giants this week. Of course, it started with them announcing that they were benching longtime starting quarterback Daniel Jones, to him being demoted to the third string, to now being on the scout team playing safety, and then ultimately Jones was released today. But nonetheless, you know that it's going to be the Tommy DeVito show, at least for right now, at quarterback for the Giants, as he's going to try to give this team a spark. On the flip side, for the Tampa Bay Bucks, like I said, they are fresh off of their bye. They're expected to get wide receiver Mike Evans back, and if this Giants defense cannot get to Bucks quarterback Baker Mayfield, they're going to be in for a long afternoon. Tampa Bay comes into this contest favored by 6. The Giants are winless at home this season, and I think that trend continues, as I'm going to take the Bucks by the score of 27-16. Now in the NFC East, you've got the 3-7 Dallas Cowboys traveling to take on the 7-4 Washington Commanders. And when was the last time that the Cowboys went into a game against the Commanders and they were this big of an underdog? We're talking about Dallas right now being 10.5 point underdogs. You've probably got to go back to the first run of Joe Gibbs as the head coach in Washington, and probably, just guessing off the top of my head, probably, towards the tail end of Tom Landry's time as the head coach in Dallas. But nonetheless, not a lot of things are going right for this Cowboys team right now. We know about the injuries, but even when they're healthy, they struggle to run the football, and they also struggle to stop the run. And now this Cowboys defense has to go in there and face that dual threat quarterback for Washington in one Jaden Daniels. Also facing Jaden Daniels coming off of his bye week. Washington is favored by 10.5 points for a reason. I expect the Commanders to get back on track and put an end to their 2-game losing streak. Thus, I'm going to take Washington in this one by the score of 30-17. Now, you got the 9-1 Kansas City Chiefs traveling to Charlotte to take on the 3-7 Carolina Panthers. And what a better way for the Chiefs to get back into that win column after they suffered their first loss of the season last Sunday. We notice a theme here. A lot of good teams playing a lot of bad teams. Therefore, we're seeing the big spreads this week. Kansas City comes into this contest favored by 10.5 points. I expect them to get back on track. I look at this Chiefs defense going up against the youngster at quarterback for Carolina, Bryce Young. That, to me, alone will be the difference. I'm going to take Kansas City to cruise by the score of 31-13. Now, in the AFC South, the Houston Texans looking to put the clamps on another division title. They have a 7-4 record, and they're welcoming the 2-8 Tennessee Titans to town. Now, Houston is favored by 8 in this one, but I do think that this Tennessee Titans team under head coach Brian Callahan will definitely put up a fight. However, the Texans are too talented. It starts with C.J. Stroud at quarterback, Joe Mixon at running back, and of course, this Texans defense trying to go out there and tee off on Titans quarterback Will Levis. I'm going to take Houston at home by the score of 27-17. Now, in the AFC West, you've got the 6-5 Denver Broncos traveling to Vegas to take on the 2-8 Raiders. Denver comes into this contest favored by 6. And don't look now, but this Broncos team with rookie quarterback Bo Nix definitely has the it factor as far as getting to the postseason. The Raiders fight hard. The Raiders compete for head coach Antonio Pierce, but they simply do not have the talent. And I look at this Broncos defense going up against Raiders quarterback Gardner Minshew, advantage Denver. Thus, I'm going to take the Broncos on the road in this one by the score of 27-16. Now at Lambeau, you've got the 5-5 San Francisco 49ers strolling into town to take on the 7-3 Green Bay Packers. And in one breath, you want to say, well, will the real 49ers show up? But at the same time, the real 49ers or the 49ers as a whole are simply the walking wounded now. We know that Brandon Ayuk is done for the season. Nick Bosa left last week's loss to Seattle in the second half with that hip injury. He's a no go for this one for San Francisco. And now quarterback Brock Purdy is going to be sidelined in this one with an injury as well. For the Green Bay Packers, it hasn't been pretty, but they keep on winning. And I'm sure the folks that follow the green and gold will take an ugly loss over a pretty win any day of the week. This game was close as far as the line was earlier on in the week. And of course, with the absence of Purdy and Bosa, things have changed. The Green Bay is now a 5.5 point favorite at home. I'm going to take the over on that one. I'm going to take Green Bay by 8, 24-16. Now, in the NFC West, you've got the 6-4 Arizona Cardinals traveling to the Pacific Northwest to take on the 5-5 Seattle Seahawks. And I said this back in the preseason. I said Arizona was my sleeper team in the NFC West. And you look at them right now, they're in first place in this division, and they're looking to put the stranglehold on that top spot. Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr., that good quarterback wide receiver connection, is blossoming for the Cardinals. On the flip side for Seattle, we saw them get the comeback win against the San Francisco 49ers last Sunday, but it's too much Jekyll and Hyde stuff going on for Seattle right now. One week they look good, another week they don't. Arizona's favored by 1 point on the road in this one in the rain in Seattle, but I'm going to take the Bird Gang 24-20. Now on Sunday night, you got the Inglewood doubleheader at SoFi. Sunday night, you got the 5-5 Los Angeles Rams hosting the 8-2 Philadelphia Eagles. And Philadelphia finally looks like they're getting their sea legs. No Devonta Smith at wide receiver in this one, but you still got that powerful running game with Saquon Barkley. And of course, you still have A.J. Brown at wide receiver. The Rams are another one of those teams. They compete for head coach Sean McVay. They've had their good moments and they've had their bad moments. And I think quarterback Matthew Stafford is probably going to have to play his best game of the season if the Rams are going to hold serve at home. But nonetheless, Philadelphia is favored by 3 points in this one. The over on this one, over under is 48.5. I'm going to go with the over on both of those. And I'm going to take the Eagles by the score of 34-23. And finally, on Monday night, staying in at SoFi in Inglewood, you got the 7-4 Baltimore Ravens come into town to take on the 7-3 Los Angeles Chargers. And it's another dose of the Harbaugh brothers. John Harbaugh as the head coach in Baltimore, and of course, Jim Harbaugh in his first season as the head coach of the Chargers. They've met before in the NFL, of course, when Jim was the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, and it was always John who got the best of Jim, including leading the Baltimore Ravens to a win over the 49ers in Super Bowl number 47. But nonetheless, for the Baltimore Ravens, they come to town licking their wounds after their loss last Sunday at the hands of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And in that game, it's just the same old song. You get those physical front sevens that go out there and make life tough for Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson. He's going to have to deal with another physical defense this Sunday night, or pardon me, this Monday night rather, in the form of the Chargers. You have seen the Chargers very quickly take on the mindset of their head coach. Very hardworking, physical, no nonsense, get after you. And I think the embodiment of that so far has been Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert. But with that said, Baltimore is favored by 3. And I'm going to give John Harbaugh the benefit of the doubt. I simply don't see the Ravens losing back-to-back games. And he still has gotten the best of brother Jim. And because of that, I'm going to go Baltimore in this one by the score of 24-20. So, folks, those are my picks for week number 12 in this NFL season. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 pounds of sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.